Collins, how are you?
I am good. I'm good.
We are looking at the fuel prices and we are wondering what is happening. I'm guessing that's a question you'll be asking yourself. And what answers can you get for us? What is happening?
Well, it's simple. We have become price takers of the international market. It means that whatever happens on the international market, that's the fuel market, it impacts directly on us. We don't have systems that are working to mitigate both the price and supply risk from this market. You will appreciate that the Russian-Ukraine war has stoked some level of price increases on the world market. Europe is in summer and they consume more of diesel compared to that of US that consume more of gasoline during winter, during the summer, sorry. And when you have to produce the spec of diesel for the summer in Europe, you will need a lot of additives, including urea. Urea that you use in fertilizer and others. These are this major, commodity is sourced from Russia and Ukraine. And so aside the ban on Russia impacting on oil supply, the shortage of urea to produce the summer gas oil is also impacting on diesel price, having some form of effect also on gas oil because gasoline, because people have to now switch their type of fuel they are using from diesel to gasoline that we call petrol. And so it's a supply constraint in Europe that is generating that high level of prices on international market. And because our internal mechanisms, including the price stabilization and recovery levy, the thermal oil refinery, and BOS are not working, we are bearing the direct effect from this international market. And so this is exactly what is happening. Meanwhile, the dollar that we use to procure this fuel from the international market is also, declining in value week by week. And so importers have to convert a lot of cedis every 2 weeks into a dollar before they can procure or import this fuel. And so international prices, coupled with the depreciation of the cedi, is what is bringing us closer to 60 Ghana cedis per gallon for diesel in the coming days.
But everything that you just mentioned, you mentioned price stabilization, you mentioned BOS, you mentioned the dollar. Those are things that you believe can, if they were managed well, would have had some mitigation against the fuel prices?
Exactly so, because that forex risk or exposure is transferred to the consumer by both the BDT and the OMC. And so if we are able to manage our CD against the US dollar very well, then of course we may have some form of relief. That is one. BOS is supposed to keep strategic fuel stock. And so it means that when they keep the stock and they trade very well, they can manage the supply risk as well as some level of price risk. They can do same. Some years ago, there was a good plan in place between TOR, BOS, Go Energy, and Gov't to ensure that the downstream market is well managed and the volatility is reduced in terms of price. system has broken down. The thermal oil refinery is also supposed to refine oil and ensure that there's synergy between upstream and the downstream sector, so that we can even source from our own oil fields and produce without necessarily going to the international market. That was the vision of the founding father, Kwame Nkrumah, that one day we'll find oil, and when we do, the Amoasi refinery will be able to crack this hydrocarbon for the good of the economy. So, as we speak today, it's in coma. And if care is not taken within the next few months, it will collapse dead. And this is something that we also need to address. You mentioned the price stabilization and recovery levy. For many years, this component of levy on the price build-up has not been able or effectively manage prices, because the way it's applied is not sustainable and cannot sustain price. Maybe we may want to convert or redeploy this levy into the strategic fuel levy, so that we can start building up our stocks in country during good times and release onto the market when we find ourselves in periods like this. These are few we can begin to talk about.
The way you describe Tor is worrying. You said it's in a coma, and we may see a collapse within the next few months. Exactly what is the situation at all?
We are putting together a statement. Latest by 9 o'clock, the IES will put out the statement on Tor. But let me give you a gist. This is a refinery that before beginning of 2017 have cracked more than 7 million barrels within 18 months. From 2017 January to date, they've not been able to crack even 8 million barrels. They start the plant and they shut down. For every attempt to start the crude distillation unit, it will cost you about $150,000 to just restart it. So they start and they shut down for lack of crude, for poor maintenance, and all that you can count. You can count. Today, Tor have shut down for close to a year, and it's sitting down, rusting away. Instead of looking for a strategic partnership, leadership have failed to do that. And in the oil market, there are always competitors. We got an indication that Dangote will be passing some of their trains any minute from now, and they are recruiting. They've been to Ghana and back, and they might come back. And what it means that they will come and take away some of the key stuff of Tor. How will you run this? There's also another competing refinery in country coming on stream before end of year. They will stock from Tor the skilled labor, the experienced hands. How will you restart? When people now find that there are alternatives around in terms of where to source their fuel from Dangote and from whatever, Tor will be out of the equation. Mind you, Tor has a low refining capacity. It has plunged to almost 5,000 barrels a day. How can you compete with Dangote? That is looking beyond, looking in the millions of a barrel. How will you compete with other refineries that are doing about 100,000 barrels within the same domain? So the next few months before end of the year is a very interesting period, and that is when Tor needs to either restart or collapse dead. And so we're getting the indication. Staff morale is low. Go to their clinic. You will not even find paracetamol. People have been on retirement years. They've not received their package. Staff don't get their provident fund. Staff don't get their salary on time. And so it's a gloomy picture we have. And we believe the intervention of the president is what will do the saving for toll.
What is the problem with toll? Is it management? Is it a matter of finance? What is the issue?
It is management. If you are looking for funds, it's the way you restructure yourself is the way management position itself that will attract that needed investment. You can put money ahead of leadership. And so for the many years, we've seen that poor leadership, that poor management style has not helped at all. Also, you see incoherent policy direction. While the minister is saying that they intend to scrap toll, the managing director says that toll is going to ramp up production. A very huge platform at Houston, Texas. You remember, Mr. Boache and Mr. Ose, so we don't know which direction government wants to take toll. And that is where the IES will appeal to the president to provide that needed leadership first for the management of toll and for the board of toll. As for the minister, we don't want to discuss him now.
And that is where I was coming to. And thanks for clarifying that what you want from the president is leadership from the top, because the person who has toll is usually the prerogative of the president. So if the person is failing, it's for the president to decide whether or not the person is pursuing his vision. Should we not be calling into question the president's own vision for toll, and perhaps seeking answers from him where he wants to take Tamara Refinery?
Exactly. So that's why we'll appeal to the president, because he's the main man. He calls the shots. He does appointments. He disappoints as well. And so if we bring to the fore the challenges at all and the concern of Ghanaians, it's for the president to look at it and devise a way to save the situation. That is why I initially mentioned the president, and just to give that very confidence and direction to the management of toll as well as the board. The board is also there to set some strategic path. But the president's way is what will give them confidence in a particular direction.
You talk about minister, current management, current board. Would you suggest that they all go?
I have not even mentioned the minister. That's why I say we don't want to even discuss him now, because we believe that he doesn't even understand the business of refinery. He may need to go and get educated and get some, learn. He must be schooled on the business of refinery. But then we believe that management and board should be able, given the needed backing from the president, carve a path for recovery and put toll on sustainable and profitable path. That's what we believe. So it will be too early to call for help, because this is the new, they just came into office in less than a year. It will also do them good if they put in the public domain what they have done so far over the last 5-6 months that they've been in office, and what Ghanaians should expect. So it brings confidence to the downstream sector. It revives that hope that the Ghana oil industry is not dead. Looking at the challenges that we are seeing upstream, the downstream sector is the only sector that can bring some revival. You see that, Senna, you don't even hear about petroleum hub again, the discussion about petroleum hub, because the synergy that needed to be built between upstream and downstream does not exist, and things are fizzled out. All hopes are getting lost. But I think that we can revive the situation.
I was worried when you said that the minister needed to be schooled on the business of refinery. Because ministers, even though may not be experts in their area, one of the advantages they have, people around them, helping them to understand this kind of things. Are you suggesting that he hasn't shown an understanding of the area?
Over the last 2 years, you've seen continuous decline in our oil production. And even service providers, as well as some of the producers, are hesitant. And you see that most of them have even moved their offices to Cote d'Ivoire. And so the upstream sector that we threw a party on, jubilated, is gradually, dying, and you don't see any synergy between upstream and downstream. We have once brought crude oil from the Tenso to refine at all, and just after that very parcel of crude, so has not even attempted, or we've not got any strategic partner, supporting Tor in that direction. So it's becoming quite disturbing, and we believe that it was the minister who, as a direct man under the president, who could have brought some form of relief, some form of hope and expectation into the sector. But we don't have that confidence in the minister. Not at all.
Because he's the same person, I guess, that's responsible for bust that you're talking about. But what is the situation with bust? You're supposed to keep strategic stocks. You said they don't have any?
Tor doesn't have a strategic stock. That's what I can say.
Bust doesn't have strategic stock at all?
Not at all. Maybe you want to put it to them and for them to tell Ghanaians that in case we don't get any vessels coming in the next 6 weeks, they will be able to supply the market, conveniently. Bond is supposed to keep more than 10 weeks of strategy so that we can sustain ourselves in case of force majeure or for whatever reason we are not getting imported fuel. Not at all. They used to have some form of partnership with Tor, where Boss will import the crude oil, give it to Tor to refine for a fee, pay Tor, get their refined product, they pass it on to Go Energy. Go Energy being the BDC of Go, give it to Go and Go supply it on the market. The system has collapsed.
And that is why you refer to us as price takers. We know there's a window that is opening today. What should we expect?
Well, we may be buying a gallon of diesel for either 56 Ghana cedis or close to 50 Ghana cedis. A gallon of petrol will go close to 50 Ghana cedis. This is what we pick from the international and the local market. That's what the fundamentals dictate. Cedi has declined in value. We don't have strategic fuel stock to fall on. The Samoa refinery is not working. The price stabilization recovery levy has not been kicked in, and we don't see government bringing any form of subsidy or subsidizing in any form the situation that we have.
Well, Nana, thank you very much for speaking to us. I'm guessing perhaps we'll have a further conversation after you issue the statement on Tor properly. But thank you. Thank you for speaking to us this morning.
Pleasure is mine. Thanks for having me.
Nana Amoasi VII is Executive Director, Institute of Energy Security. Long may he reign. Good morning. Good morning to my people once again. Is it going well? The people who buy food.